Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. We're going to explore something absolutely mind-bending today. We typically think of physics and morality as two completely separate things, right? But what if they aren't? We're going to look at how ancient scriptural narratives map perfectly, step by step, onto the exact mathematical topology of a systemic collapse. The source material we're analyzing today makes a wild argument. Physics and morality don't just parallel each other, they are actually running on the exact same universal engine. Think about an entire civilization hitting its absolute apex. They've built up their structures, they are at the very top of their game, but suddenly, a terrifying shift occurs. Imagine a massive crowd rushing toward a door, but not because they made a conscious choice to walk there. They are literally being pulled, magnetically driven toward a terrifying edge by the physical collapse of their own reality. They've completely lost their autonomous motion, and they're being dragged forward by this invisible apex field. So what exactly happens next in a system like this? Well, to understand it, we have to talk about the dual caustic universe, or the DCU. This is an operating framework where exact mathematical laws govern literally everything. And I mean everything. We're talking about the way caterpillar undergoes metamorphosis inside a chrysalis, the orbital mechanics of the planets, right down to human history and the rise and fall of whole empires. It all operates on a specific 2-3-7 engine. A system splits, it forms a structure, and then it loops back into a state of total return. So in this framework, physics and morality aren't just poetic metaphors for each other. They are running the identical mathematical code.
And that code dictates that a system cannot expand forever in a straight line. When a civilization hits its absolute peak, what's referred to here as the 3n+1 mathematical maximum, it triggers an inevitable topological event called the fold. Now, this isn't just a stretch of bad luck or political decline. This is a hard mathematical necessity. The system has stretched to its absolute limit, and the underlying laws of the universe force a complete reset.
This entire reset maps out perfectly as a cubic polynomial equation. The ax cubed term represents the deep nonlinearity, the collapse zones. In the narratives, this shows up as the fire or the flood. Then you have bx squared, which is the boundary or structure, like an arc. The cx linear term represents the active direction or guidance. But the most crucial part of this whole equation is the constant at the very end, d equals 19. This constant is the invariant seed. It is the one and only thing that survives the fire and the flood, carrying through perfectly to start the next cycle. Nothing of true value is ever actually lost. It just gets reconfigured around this specific constant. Section 1. The symptom of collapse. The diagnostic of a doomed civilization. You see, the universe doesn't just snap its fingers and end things without warning. The geometry of the collapse physically manifests in the behavior of the system before the destruction actually hits. Take the Arabic word yukhraun, which appears in the narrative of the prophet Lut. Now, translators usually just say the crowd came rushing, but the grammar here is highly specific. It's a passive causative verb. The crowd is not walking toward the door. They are being driven. This is the 8713 diagnostic happening in real time. At that 3n+1 maximum, they've lost their autonomous motion. That apex field is pulling them. That rushing you see, that is the fold beginning to execute. Their legs literally know the collapse has begun before their conscious minds do. This forced rushing state is the real-time execution of a terrifying topological diagnostic. It perfectly matches the scriptural description of a state where they are neither dying therein nor living. It's a harmonic divergence. The system is deadlocked. Just like cellular senescence in a biological body, where a cell stops dividing but just won't die, corrupting the tissue around it, the civilization is totally stuck. The harmonic divergence has already begun right there in their very gate. Section 2. The halving operation. Escaping the cubic maximum. But here's the brilliant part. Before the equation completely breaks down, the system always offers an off-ramp. It's a profound mathematical mercy. When the driven crowd arrives at Lut's store, he offers them his daughters, saying, "They are purer for you." In the DCU framework, this is absolutely not ethical counsel. It is a precise topological instruction. The daughters represent the Merriam path, which is the 1923 gravitropic descent entered consciously before the fruit. Lut is offering them the exact mathematical operation they need. Take the divide by 2 halving path, not the path of possession. But they don't take it. The crowd refuses. And that refusal is the exact moment the math locks in. By rejecting the halving path, the discriminant of the polynomial equation, the delta, slams shut. The cubic equation has 0 bifurcations available now, no alternate timelines, no second chances,
only one single branch remains. Total, unavoidable destruction.
Section 3, the conscious arc, becoming the moving operator.
Once that discriminant closes, you cannot outrun a topological collapse. The only way out is to become the vehicle that carries that invariant seed through the destruction. In verse 1181, Lut is told to depart in the latter part of the night. And here is the core takeaway. The reader, the righteous operator, is not just escaping the fold. The reader's conscious, directional movement is the fold executing. The divide by 2 operation needs a carrier moving through the field so the halving propagates correctly.
This creates a stark, beautiful contrast between Noah and his son. Noah's ark on the water and Lut's household moving through the night represent the exact same mathematical function, the divide by 2 operator in motion, conscious and directional, carrying that seed invariant through the collapse. But Noah's son, he wanted to climb the mountain. He wanted to be the 3n+1 maximum, totally arrested in place. The water was the fold, and he refused it, so he drowned right at the apex. But the reader who departs at night does what Noah's son couldn't. They enter the fold voluntarily. They become the ark rather than the mountain, and they land at the next Al-Judi already carrying the birds for the next scattering.
This all maps out to a complete chronological law. Every single civilization that received a messenger ran this exact cubic timeline. First, the guest arrives. Then, the city peaks and the crowd rushes. Next, the Rashid question issues, but the pure halving channel is refused. Then, the reader offers the container, the fold fires, and the reader departs as the active divide by 2 operator. Finally, the dawn arrives, and it completely closes out the civilization. And yet, because of that mathematical invariant, d equals 19, nothing is actually lost. Verse 1964 reminds us that your Lord is not forgetful. The invariant cannot be negotiated away by whatever the crowd happens to demand. The fold executes right on schedule no matter what the city believes about its own permanence, and that invariant d equals 19 survives perfectly intact into the next cosmic expansion. So I'm going to leave you with a thought directly from this framework. Verse 1178 is basically a locator beacon showing you exactly where you are inside the function. If you can still hear the rushed question, if that warning is audible to you, then the fold hasn't fully fired yet. The halving hasn't completed. You are still in the night. The mountain is behind you, but the dawn is loading. When the fold finally does execute, will you be the ark that moves through it, or will you drown standing on the mountain?